Dear me, they will say, it will take the wisdom of Solomon to sort this one out. Solomon was the son of David, and as such, there must have been high hopes for him. It was prophesied that the seed of David, the offspring of David, would build the house of the Lord and sit on an eternal throne. That's what 2 Samuel chapter 7 said. Well, Solomon does end up building the physical temple, replacing the old tabernacle in Moses' time. This temple was the house of God. So really, Solomon did build up the house of God. And the name Solomon means peace. So then everyone's thinking, is Solomon, this son of David, is he the eternal king? Is he the Prince of Peace? Is he the Messiah? Well, no, as his later years would make abundantly clear. In the early years, he pointed beautifully to the reign of Christ, and it's his wisdom that especially foretells of Jesus' reign. It all came about in 1 Kings chapter 3 when Solomon asked for wisdom from the Lord. Here's 1 Samuel 3 from verse 5. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon answered, "You've shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you and righteous and upright in heart. You've continued this great kindness to him and have given him a son to sit on his throne to this very day. Now, Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I'm only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" Well, verse 10, the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, "Since you've asked for this, and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never be anyone like you, nor will there ever, so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there be anyone in the future. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you walk in obedience to me and keep my decrees and commands, as David your father did, I will give you a long life." Then Solomon awoke, and he realized that it had been a dream. So as with Samson's strength, do you remember Samson? The Bible makes clear that Solomon's wisdom is not natural. Samson's strength was a supernatural gift of the Spirit, so Solomon's wisdom, again, is not a natural endowment. This is a gift of the Lord. God's king would reign in the power of God's gift. We're being told here that the Son rules in the power of the Spirit, and the Spirit of wisdom equips this little Messiah, Solomon, to rule justly. In the very same chapter, there's a famous example of Solomon's wisdom in 1 Kings chapter 3 from verse 16. In this part of the Bible, 2 prostitutes come to Solomon, and each has a son. One of the sons has just died, so Solomon is faced with 2 competing claims. The first woman currently has the dead child, but she says that the living child is her. She claims that the other woman swapped the children in the night. The second woman denies it. So who is telling the truth? To whom does the living child belong? Well, Solomon, full of the wisdom of God, asks for a sword to be brought. Verse 25, he then gave an order, "Cut the living child in 2 and give half to one and half to the other." Wow, that's quite a stunning thing, isn't it? Verse 26, the woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her son and said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in 2. Verse 27, then the king gave this ruling, "Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." When all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he has wisdom from God to administer justice. So Solomon discerns the true mother. His wisdom has been proved. Now let's think about this story just for a second. It's very interesting. Here Solomon has a wisdom that is able to judge between 2 women bearing 2 offspring. Now this might remind us of the most ancient gospel promise, Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. You see, there'll be two offspring. There'll be the offspring of the woman and there'll be the offspring of the serpent. There will be righteous offspring, there will be wicked offspring. One offspring leads to life, the other offspring leads to death. And here in Solomon's court, there appears in miniature a version of this global truth. One woman bears a living offspring, the other a dead offspring. And the question is, how can we tell who is who? Well, here's how, through the wisdom of Solomon. Through the wisdom of Solomon, you can judge the response of these two women to the living one. If they would be happy to see the living offspring die, then they are the liar, and they have borne fruit for death. If they love and cherish the living offspring, they show themselves to truly belong to him, and he to them. So Solomon makes that most fundamental judgment call, discerning between those who cling to the living offspring and those who wish him dead. This was a single example of Solomon's wise rule, but it gives us a snapshot of a far greater judgment scene. There will be a day when Christ, the true Son of David, will judge the whole earth. And you might ask, who could possibly be equal to such a task? To judge justly needs incredible discernment. But on that day we will praise his wisdom as one greater than Solomon. We can have confidence that the world's judgment is in good hands. He is wiser than even wise old Solomon. But Christ's criteria for judgment will be basically the same. Those who love him, the true and living offspring, those who love him, the living one, those who love Christ, they will be given Christ. But those who do not love the living offspring, the seed, the offspring, those people will not receive him. They will be left fruitless and dead. This is what will divide the whole world. And uniquely, Jesus has the wisdom to discern it in every man, woman, and child. On Solomon's little judgment day in 1 Kings chapter 3, on his little judgment day, his kingdom resounded with tales of his wisdom. But when we see the righteousness of Christ's cosmic judgment, both earth and heaven will combine to praise forever the wisdom of Jesus.